Be honest with me for a second. How many times have you looked at Helldivers 2 sitting in your library, hovered over that play button, and then thought, nah, maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow became next week. Maybe next week became next month. And before you even realized it, you stopped diving entirely. And here's the uncomfortable part. That doesn't make you a bad Helldiver. It makes you human. Greetings and salutations, Helldivers. My name is High Enforcer C4 of Democratic Integrity Unit. Today, we're talking about something that every gaming community faces eventually. Burnout. Not because the game is bad, not because you've become a traitor to Super Earth, but because even the strongest soldiers weren't built to sprint forever. Helldivers 2 asks a lot from its players. Major orders, personal orders, war bond, limited time events, planet defenses, community expectations, faction operations, content creators uploading every day, friends asking you to hop on for just one more mission. After hundreds, sometimes thousands of dives, it's only natural that the excitement starts to fade. The funny thing is that burnout rarely happens all at once. It sneaks in. You skipped one operation or two, you miss a major order, your Discord notifications pile up, you'll tell yourself you'll play tomorrow. Then suddenly, you realize it's been 3 weeks since you last answered the call to defend managed democracy. And that can leave people feeling guilty. Like they're letting down their squad, their friends. Like they're abandoning their community. Like somehow they've failed. But here's something I think we need to remember. Games exist to bring us joy. If playing starts to feel like punching a time clock, something has gone wrong. Sometimes the healthiest thing that you can do is step away for a while. Play something different. Spend some time with family. Touch grass. I say that unironically, and I know that's heresy to some people. Go build something, create something, live a little. Because if Helldivers is a home worth returning to, then it will still be here when you're ready. Personally, between me and you, I don't think the war is going anywhere. And neither are we, the other Helldivers. But this isn't just my opinion. I wanted to hear from other divers. Different backgrounds, different experiences, different reasons for stepping away, and different reasons for coming back. So I sat down with several members of our community and asked them 5 simple questions. Some of their answers surprised me, some were hopeful, some were heartbreaking, and every single one reminded me that behind every super destroyer, wearing every other cape, is just another person trying to have fun. Let's hear what they had to say, starting with question 1. Alright, so we're going to start with question 1. When was the last time you were burnt out on diving?
Well, a couple of months ago, I started to feel like it was pointless to play, since I already unlocked every warbond and ship upgrade. The only thing remaining is my level. Right now, I'm level 125.
To the extent I am now, I would say almost a year ago. It was right about the time we had the small content drought where everyone was losing their minds over the almost 2 weeks. It was like 10 days where we didn't have a major order right at the end of last summer. And I just the game itself had kind of like just calmed down a little bit, and the overall environment with outside of it was what really kind of brought a lot of weight down onto my experience, and I had to start cutting that out in order to be able to like kind of handle it, because overall it's like it's not that there wasn't enough content for me to enjoy. It's just at that point in time I had just done Super Earth, and then I'd been working with a bunch of new players, and then it just got to the point where I was just kind of burning out, and I had to stop before I got to the point of total burnout.
When was the last time I was burnt out on diving? I would say it was probably a few weeks ago, man. It just seemed to me like it wasn't the act of diving itself that had me burnt out. I think it was the lack of overall meaningful, like strategic war content that just seemed like I was asking myself the question, hey man, what's the big picture here? Like, what are we actually fighting for? Because every week it was some MO about liberate this planet, liberate this planet, liberate this planet. Between, planets like Osha-Une, Omicron, on the bot front, you had like Fury K, Mox, with those new volcanic planets, and then you had the squids taking a lot of ground, especially with like the new appropriator sort of subclass. I just was asking myself a lot of questions of like, hey man, we're jumping from front to front to front, and I know the intent behind that is to make things feel fresh, so we're not always fighting just one enemy, but it just seemed like it was a lot of monotonous same missions over and over. And even though I strictly dive on like D10 with a lot of guys, from my boys in the 501st Discord, it just seems like the rehashing of the same missions over and over and over. It just felt monotonous. So,
That's been a
yeah, I
pretty
feel like a lot
common
of
sentiment.
yeah, and I feel like a lot of that can be captured when you look at the data spread on how many participants are actually participating in the week's MO. You'll see, for things that don't land, like this last squid MO. I mean, how many guys like got the first planet just to secure the supply FRV for the remainder of the campaign, and they just completely gapped off the cremator variant of like the FRV, man. It was almost like, I don't know, most of the community just gave up. You look at the overall diver counts, and it's somewhere in like the low to mid 30K, when it should be, probably a couple, you know, somewhere in the 40s or 50s is what I've seen on average for most MLs. And it just seemed like people are kind of like, I think I'm gonna sit this one out until things switch up.
The last time I truly felt burnt out was recently. I put 900 plus hours into Helldivers, and over 300 of those hours have been as a medic. I spent hundreds of hours keeping people alive, resupplying squads, throwing myself into the worst of the fighting just to make sure someone else makes it home. But even with all of that love for the role, burnout still hits. For me, it came from mission repetitiveness, lack of meaningful alternatives, and honestly, from dealing with toxic player base that can suck the joy out of a game faster than any enemy ever could. What's really been hurting the experience lately is that feeling that content keeps getting rushed out broken. The last 3 updates, the game has been flat out unplayable for some people for periods of time. And I know that for a fact because I'm in a Discord with over 100 Helldivers and I've watched the frustration build in real time.
Yeah.
Question 2. What made you come back, or what made you stay gone?
Well, the thing that made me come back is, well, my friends asking me to play since they all need one remaining guy, and because they don't play so well. But the thing that keeps me out from diving, it's because it's always the same missions, same maps, especially on the Illuminate. Oh, that really helps creating a burnout.
Well, the main thing that got me to come back is I've experienced like hard burnout where I've killed a game for myself. So I've learned that I have to cut it back. But this has been my go-to game for relaxing. Ever since my previous go-to game had it got updated and it doesn't run right anymore. So this was like kind of the thing where I could just come in. I don't have to be fully cognizant to be able to play. I'm able to show up super late, exhausted, just turn the difficulty down a little bit and just do what I'm going to do. And so what kind of kept me coming back though is the ease to come into the game, jump in, play, contribute, and then drop out, even if I'm not finding something to stick with. When I hit that like kind of that burnout stage, what I'll do is I'll hop on when I'm going to do a game session. I'll get into Helldivers and I'll just try to complete my daily or do like 3 missions, and try to find a group that to see if I can find a group that I end up vibing with, or however you want to say it. Because the players are really what sticks you in. The game is fun, but when you get into a lobby where everyone is having a blast, then you just don't want to leave. And so I just kind of like look for that, and if I don't see it, I leave. And then the other thing I do to kind of keep that burnout from like sticking is if I get in and I'm not having fun, I close the game. All right. If I get in and I'm just like getting a little sour, I tell everyone, sorry, I gotta go, and then I head out. And that's really the only way I've been able to like curb it. And then it just kind of comes in waves. It's a really enjoyable game, and when you get in with a good crowd, it really just sucks you in and draws you. And then you're like, man, I can't wait to get on because I've been having a good experience.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Right now, it's not as much, and so I'm kind of like in that burnout streak right now, where I'm hobbling it along while I recoup.
So I'm here, and I'm here to stay, mostly because of my friends. Like, this game has really given me a ton of friends online that I interact with on a daily basis, especially like internal to like the Discord that I help mod. And I've just met so many different people from all walks of life that it's just been a great experience, man. Like, the game is fun, don't get me wrong. And even when I'm feeling like just completely like, damn, this is getting old on the game, for me personally, I come back because regardless of the monotony of the overall content, just spending time with like a bunch of people that I genuinely click with, and just we make our own fun, if that makes sense. It kind of reminds me of like the old Halo 3 and like Gears of War days, where yeah, it's the same gameplay loop over and over and over again, but it doesn't matter, man, because you're kicking it with your friends who we're gonna make it fun somehow, you know?
What keeps bringing me back is simple. I'm a medic. I have a duty to my fellow Helldivers. That might sound dramatic to some people, but if you spend enough time in this role, you understand it. My job has never been just to play the game. It's to make the game better for people I drop with. To keep them in the fight. To be the reason a bad mission doesn't become a miserable one. To be the guy who shows up with stims, supplies, cover, and transport, and gets people out alive. That's why I come back. Not because the game made it easy, not because High Command earned it, but because my fellow Helldivers did. And I'll be honest, the addition of more vehicles has helped a lot. It's made my medic role feel useful in new ways. Whether I'm acting as a shield in the Breakthrough Exo shoot, or running a supply FRV, or handling rapid extraction, it finally feels like my role can do more than just react. It feels like I can actively support the battlefield in a bigger way.
Yeah.
Question 3. How can High Command combat burnout in divers? What do you think is their best course of action?
They should create new orders, like new missions and so on, especially on the Illuminate front, because how I say it's like 5 or 6 different missions on normal planet, and let him fight in different areas of the planet. For example, Illuminate are always villages around or cities. They should add something more, in my opinion.
See, that's what's I've been racking my head about for like since we set this up. Is what can they do to fight the burnout? And I think some of the mixed aspects are going to be more of a variety in the I honestly think it's going to be more variety in the difficulties, and then people I talk to, and that goes even further, is people were complaining that we're not able to succeed at major orders, and then I'm talking to them and I'm like, so did you realize that these are operations? And it's like no, and it's because you get a couple pop-ups when you go through the tutorials and you have a few things, but if you're not looking for it, it's not really clear. And so ultimately I would feel like the best thing to do is to improve being able to spot things. I thought, like, for this monitor back here, if it just had your like your dispatches displayed on it before you access it, that would be neat. If I open it up, I don't know, did that turn me around?
Yeah.
So I go and I look at this and I'm cycling through, our dispatches aren't even in there. And it's like, I think that would be an excellent place, so that way people can see the dispatches. People would be able to notice when we are trying to do things like the gambits and all of that. I feel like the best thing to do would be to make it smoother for people who are casual and looking to just get on to kind of see what is actually going on instead of having to hop on, do some research. But outside of that, the main thing is to try and find a way for us to feel like we can do something. And it's really is over the past, it's starting to feel like if the entire community isn't actively doing the same thing, we don't really make a success. Even if we got half of the community, and it's like we'll be doing something. We've got 40,000 people playing towards an objective, and we can't succeed because we needed 60,000 out of the 85,000 on that are playing.
So to this point, I actually think this latest patch update has done a good job in moving the needle in the right direction, or what I like to call a course correction. So in real life, I'm a pilot by trade, and whenever things are getting out of whack, sometimes you need to make a course correction really quick before things get off the rails. And I think Arrowhead is doing a good job in the panels on the opposite side of what used to be nothing, just giving you kind of like more strategic information about the current campaign and how the previous MOs for a specific campaign are kind of playing into the larger strategic picture, I think is good. Because I think a lot of people, when they go to the navigation console and they're trying to pick a planet to dive on, and they're trying to either dive on a specific faction or dive on the MO or even like a strategic order, they don't understand like the strategic implications. So having that as like a tool to help cage people in on the why, because I think the why is the most important on pretty much anything, whether it's gaming or whether it's real life. The why is by far the most important. I think just adding that definitely helps. I think the supply FRV and the cremator FRV, I think also are a step in the right direction. Free stratagems earned through gameplay that, hey, we get to choose based off of, whether we win or lose, whether we take the planet or not, whether we get to keep that specific stratagem or not. I think those are the right mechanisms that I think Arrowhead should be aiming for. Rewards for people putting in time and effort on, these future campaigns and MOs going forward. I know a lot of people keep talking about, hey, like I want big battles. A lot of people felt like Cyberstan. I feel like there's two pools of people when it comes to Cyberstan. There are people who loved it, and then there are people who hate it. There are people who felt like it was rigged, and then there are people who felt like, well, the community just didn't put in their time, right? It wasn't supposed to be easy. I think that mechanism can be tweaked a little bit. I know a lot of people feel the same way about Oksha Une, basically 1.0, when the Rupture Strain were just all over the place, man, and people didn't know how to combat them because they just felt so broken, or people just didn't know how to take on like the Hive Lord. Me personally, I thought all those things were a blast, man. I like hard things, dude. Like what I do in real life is equally hard, and I think that's what the game needs, man. Like, I know people knock on Arrowhead for saying that a game for everyone is a game for no one, but I think I kind of understand what it is they're trying to say. They're trying to keep the game difficult, so that they like any other game like Dark Souls or something, where like the gameplay can be absolutely punishing if you're not putting in your time and playing with the right people or understanding the mechanisms or like the mechanics behind the game. I think this is similar to where if you don't understand, the enemy that you are actively fighting or utilizing, actual squad-based team, fire team-based tactics to keep everybody alive with the appropriate firepower at the appropriate time, the game's going to punish you. So I think in that vein, I think Arrowhead's doing the right things. But I think more rewards based off of time put in the game, like the supply FRVs, or like some of the experimental stratagems like we had back around Christmas time with the incendiary Gatling, like all of those things are very, very fun. And I think things that can be earned by paid and super credits is probably going to be the path forward.
Take your damn time. Stop rushing content for the sake of fan service. That's the biggest one. If the content is broken, unfinished, or makes the game unstable, it doesn't matter how exciting it looked in the trailer All it does is burn people out faster. Players can forgive waiting. What they struggle to forgive is feeling like the game they love keeps getting shoved out the door half ready. But it's not just about bug fixes. Burnout also comes from the world feeling too static. We need more variety, more immersion, and more reasons to feel like this war is alive. Give us campaign-style missions, something like escort a convoy through an active combat zone, get SEAF personnel to safety, hold a civilian evacuation line until the last shuttle leaves, recover wounded troops while the front collapses around you. Let us see the war and not just hear about it in dispatches. Let the SEAF fight more. Let us see civilians, survivors, people who we're actually protecting. Give the SEAF an FRV. Make the wider world around us feel like it exists beyond the 4 Helldivers in the drop zone. If High Command wants to fight Burnout, then make the galaxy feel worth fighting for. Question 4. How can we help our fellow divers avoid burnout?
We can help them by inviting them to play and try fun challenges. For example, I don't know, play against the Terminates using World War One era weapons like the Trench Division Warband and so on. It's really fun.
I think from my experience with other players and not my personal experience, the best thing we can do is tell players to ignore all the stuff that you're seeing on things like social media and YouTube when it comes to what you should do. One of the big things that I feel is out there is everyone comes in and they want to know, what war bond should I get? What should I do? And everyone's telling them you need to do this. And then I sit there and I'm like, hold on, go through everything. And when you're going through something and you see it and you're like, man, I really want to play with that. That should be what you work towards, so you can play with that while working towards the next thing.
So honestly, I think what I've seen online, right? Because I got my own Instagram page, like Facebook page, whatever. Honestly, man, I think people need to focus more on the community aspects of the game. Like, and by the community aspects, I see a lot of people commenting about how they try to SOS dive or they try to join, random games in progress and they get kicked. And I try to tell people, like, dude, you just need to find your crew. You need to find friends. You need to make friends. I always advertise specifically my Discord because we're very open. Like, we are not LARPers by any means. We don't have like a rank and file structure like some of these other Discords where they have like a actual military style, chain of command structure. No, it's just a bunch of people who love playing video games, not just Helldivers either. Like, we got a bunch of guys who play Destiny. We got guys that are looking forward to the new Gears of War coming out, myself included. And it's just a place, honestly, where we can all hang out, shoot the shit. And when we don't feel like playing Helldivers, hey, like, it's not about just Helldivers, man. It's about like having a group of people who genuinely enjoy each other's company and just hanging out online. And I think, honestly, as much as I love Helldivers, it's been more so been a forcing function for me to make friends. And I think that's what people really need. Like, if you want to fight burnout, I don't think the game is necessarily going to force you to, like, if you're burned out on the game, you might need to put the game down. Like, if you're burned out on the game, maybe you need to go play something else, man. Go play Skyrim, just something relaxing where you can just kind of zone out and listen to the music playing in the background and find your inner zen. But for me personally, like, all my friends in my Discord, they want to dive, man. So even when I'm tired, like, I don't want to let my friends down. So I'm going to dive with them. And it always ends up paying off, man, because we get great clips. We have a lot of laughs. And ultimately, like, that's what it's all about, dude. Like, fun and mission accomplishment is kind of like our unofficial motto. So
Part of it is community, and part of it is the reward structure. On the community side, we need to stop making the battlefield worse for each other. Too many players forget that not everyone is logging in to sweat, argue, team kill, or act like assholes. Some people are here just because they love the world, they love the teamwork, and they just want one good operation with a squad that has each other's backs. On the reward side, we need progression to feel more worth it. Not easy, just fairer. Increase super credit stash fines from 10 to 50. Give super credits at the end of a major order. Stop handing out rewards that feel meaningless when players are starving for things they'll actually use. And please, stop acting like another cape is going to fix morale. A cape does not stop burnout. A cape does not stop broken systems and make them feel better. A cape doesn't make the grind feel rewarding. If we want to help Helldivers stay in the fight, we need to make sure their time actually feels respected. Question 5. What do you have to say to your fellow divers who are facing burnout right now?
Well, if you're having burnout, try playing with other factions and meeting new people. That really helped for me.
There was a lot of that in what I just said.
Yeah.
But what I would really push is, if you're facing burnout right now, right, and you're coming in, you're saying, well, I don't have enough super credits, or I don't have enough medals, or, I'm not going to be able to do this. All right. If you're worried about it to that extent, do your daily and then turn it off. If you're really concerned, do your daily MO and then close out the game, right? Because even if you're working towards these things, you got to put a hard limit on it. Otherwise, limit yourself to how often you play for a little while. It really does help giving yourself a break and then coming back.
The only thing I have to add to that is, at the end of the day, I personally, I know right now, like, the community at hand is having a big fight over glaze divers versus wine divers, cry divers, whatever you want to call them, man. I think that is all just straight up manufactured internet, Reddit, YouTube drama that, yeah, I crack jokes about it, but ultimately I think it's in every diver's best interest to just stay out of it. Like, at the end of the day, man, this is a game, and the point of a game is to have fun. All right. It's no different than, Halo. It's no different than Call of Duty. It's no different than, Skyrim. It's no different than baseball. It's no different than basketball, skateboarding, snowboarding, whatever you enjoy, whatever hobby you enjoy, those things are supposed to be fun and they're supposed to be fulfilling. And when you allow drama to creep in to the things that are supposed to be fun, you can fall into the trap of it no longer being fun because you're letting other people basically drive your mindset in a direction that you never really intended to go. So to all my fellow divers, man, I would just say, don't listen to the cacophony of chaos that permeates, this game that we all play. Dude, just make some friends, have some fun. If you're into, like, making clips or streaming like I am, dude, do it and have fun with it, man. Because if you're not having fun, man, what's the point?
To my fellow Helldivers, I get it. I really do. Times are rough, both in-game and out of it, and High Command hasn't exactly made it easy for us. A lot of us are tired. A lot of us are frustrated. Some of us are hanging on by a thread, wondering if it's finally time to put the armor down and walk away. But don't forget who we are. This community has done incredible things before. We've raised money for children's hospitals. We've stood together and held Arrowhead accountable when things needed to change. We've proven that when Helldivers unite, we can make our voices heard. So if you're burnt out right now, I'm not going to blame you. I'm not going to tell you to just push through it. If you need a break, take one. If you need to step back, step back. But don't think for a second that you're alone in feeling this way. We're still here. We're still fighting. We still have each other. Stay strong, Helldivers. Your medic hasn't given up on you yet. So please, don't leave me alone on the front lines. The interviews are over. The conversation can continue in the comments below. But words can only carry us so far. The front still needs Helldivers. High Enforcer C4 returning to active duty. I'll see you all planetside.